thrusting at the heart of Manchester United's open defence before Bruno Guimaraes, with the armband, made sure a quarter of an hour from time. It is Newcastle United's first league double over Manchester United since 1931. It has them right up above those who chase the Champions League places, and in amongst the top four. They have beaten Manchester United here by 4-1. And Kelly, at the Cathedral on the hill, they are in full voice.
Les Ferdinand watching on the scenes at St James's Park, and it looks very much like Newcastle have got the Champions League in their sights. They've moved up into 4th place. Yes, it's a below-par Manchester United side, but as Peter was saying, they've done the double over them in the league for the first time since 1931. And they're building to the end of what's been a successful season already.
Yeah, that's right. You know, after the cup, everyone were wondering how they'd come back after winning the cup. They celebrated the first time in a long time that there was no game straight after winning that cup. And it was important to see how they would react. They've reacted in the best way you possibly can. And I think there's always pivotal games in the season. And that cup game that they won against Liverpool has just pushed them on. And now they know they belong in these echelons, and they want to play in the Champions League year in, year out. And today was a real professional performance. It was 1-1 at half-time, Kelly, but I always felt, played in games where you go a goal down or someone equalises and you always think you're going to win it. I felt like that today. Didn't matter if Man United scored, I felt Newcastle were going to go on and win this game today.
The crowd are singing Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall. Jason Tindall was the man on the bench today. Eddie Howe, of course, recovering after being admitted to hospital on Friday, and they did it without him. I'm sure that all the hard work that he puts in up to that point is very much at the front of their minds. But all the things that potentially could have gone wrong for Newcastle, they've overridden.
Yeah, and if he needed a boost, he's had one today, because he'd have been watching from his hospital bed, and to see the team perform in that way, he'd be a little bit jealous because he's not on the touchline and they still performed in that way. But if he needed a tonic, he got it today.
Roy, Manchester United already off the pitch, but they've made their way over to talk to their fans who are up in the gods here at St James's Park. What was your thoughts on the performance that they put in today?
Well, not good enough. The second half, that's 14 league games they've lost now, and we keep making excuses for this team. There's not enough players who can run in the team. I don't think there's players who want to run. Not enough of a goal threat. You've got to dig deep, even when you're up against it. They didn't do that the second half. We spoke at half-time. The big test was to come in the second half. Looking at Newcastle are outstanding. They're used to winning big games now. They've gotten a really good habit. United are the opposite. I think United now are physically and mentally a weak team.
Important scoreline thanks to an opener from Sandro Tonali, a couple from Harvey Barnes, and a goal to cap it all off from Bruno Guimaraes. Really good day at St James's Park for Newcastle United. Let's hear from Bruno and Harvey Barnes with David Craig.
Bruno, Harvey, congratulations. Bruno, we have to start and talk. How much was that performance for Eddie Howe, wherever he was watching on from today?
Yeah, when we went to the pitch, we said we're going to play for him. He has been part of our success. He has been unbelievable for us, so we miss him in the training out this week. And hopeful this win going to give him a little bit of happiness. And we hopeful want to see him back for the next game. Just to give him a little bit of happiness on this tough week for him.
It's been a tough week for him, Harvey. Was he able to send you any messages ahead of today?
No, I think he's on the road to recovery, hopefully. So I think that's his main focus at the minute. But like Bruno said, he's so influential throughout the week and obviously on a match day. So we knew we had a job to do today without him, and we did that. We said that before the game. It was one of them where we need to put a smile on his face. And yeah, hopefully he's on the road to recovery.
Definitely put a smile on his face, and I think there's a fairly decent smile on yours. How good a week has it been for Harvey Barnes?
It's been good, I'm enjoying it. I feel like I'm in a good rhythm of playing now, and I'm just enjoying being out on the pitch every week. So, long may it continue.
Bruno, how big has his contribution been in recent weeks, and particularly today?
He's an unbelievable player. I'm his fan. I love him, the way he plays, the way he shoot. He's always working hard and try to help the team, and he deserves his moment. I'm very, very happy for him. Like I said, he's an unbelievable professional and an unbelievable player.
Harvey, when we spoke on Monday night, you said Newcastle weren't at their best in the second half in particular, did we see the best of Newcastle United?
Yeah, definitely. I think first half we played well. I know that the scoreline didn't show that, but I thought we dominated the first half and created chances. I think they only had the one shot on target, which they scored. So we were happy the first half. We just knew we had to build on that, keep doing what we were doing, and the chances were going to come, and they did. You know, in the end, it was a good game and a good scoreline.
Bruno, it's 5 wins on the spin in all competitions. People talked about whether you'd be able to kick on having won that trophy. Have you exceeded even your own expectations in what you've been able to do so far?
Yeah, we're happy about what we are doing so far, but I think as a group we just think game by game. You know, our next focus in the next game. We know we have been good, but for us it's not enough. Like we said, it was unbelievable win the cup, but we want more. It's not enough for us. We want to put our name in the club history, keep it going. So yeah, it's unbelievable what we have done so far, but we want more.
Quickly and finally, a word from both of you. How important is Champions League qualification?
Unbelievable, means everything for the club. Like we have done so far is good, but like I said, it's not enough. We want to play Champions League again next season, but we are just thinking game by game, step by step, and here we go to another one on Wednesday.
Yeah, you know, we've already had an unbelievable moment this year, and that obviously gets us European football, but we want to be in the Champions League. You know, we're proving that at the minute, game by game, and we've got ourselves into a good position in the league. You know, it's up to us. If we perform every week and get the results that we know we can, then we're going to be there come the end of the season. So it's what we want next year.
Well, listen, well done to both of you. Harvey, you are the player of the match. Bruno can't believe it, by the way. He was arguing the toss with me.
He deserves.
But you are, do the honours, Bruno.
Well done, bro. You deserve, man.
Thank you.
Games, they have the momentum. I was here about 6 weeks ago when they lost the cup game to Brighton, and I thought they'd do well to recover from that. I thought it was a huge setback. But my goodness, they've got good options off the bench. The attacking players are on fire. Then you bring on people like Gordon with the pace. United couldn't cope with it. But this is where you find out about your squads. You look at Aston Villa yesterday, bringing quality players off the bench, 3 of them obviously scoring. So that strength and depth will be tested over the next few weeks. But for Newcastle, and what Newcastle have got used to now over the last kind of good few months, they're used to winning big matches. I think they'll deal with that pressure. I think they've got a great chance, and certainly in the driving seat to get in that to get in that Champions League spot.
And David asked the guys there whether their reaction post-Carabao Cup final win was even surpassing their own expectations. The question was asked, will this be the kind of pinnacle of their season and will they coast to the end, or will they use it to kick on? And that's what they've done, Les.
I always feel there's pivotal games in the season, and I said that about the cup final. I felt if they won the cup final, that would boost them to go on and look for that Champions League place. Although they were thinking about it, that game I think against Liverpool showed them that they can play against these big sides and win them in a cup final, and that gives everyone a boost. I said they were going to party here until the end of the season now that they'd won that cup, and there's a real nice atmosphere around the place at the moment, and the players are feeding off that. And like I said, hopefully, I'm looking at those fixtures, and you know, you look at Aston Villa, they've still got a Champions League game to play. You look at Chelsea, they're still in the Europa. So there's some teams there that are probably looking at other things as well as the league, but Newcastle have just got the league to concentrate on now.
Yeah, and they've played fewer games than Manchester United have this season because of their European involvement in the Europa League. That is Manchester United's route into the Champions League, should they win it. But it's not going well for them at all in the league. They find themselves in 14th place, on the wrong end of that 4-1 scoreline. Here's Ruben Amorim with David Craig.
Ruben, clearly another difficult moment for you and a disappointing result. How do you reflect on that 90-plus minutes?
Many mistakes, and they were stronger in the second balls, so they were a better team. But we did a lot of mistakes that can it become harder to win a game, and that's all.
What do you put those mistakes down to at this moment in time? Is there a lack of confidence and perhaps even a lack of belief amongst some of your players at this moment?
It's a little bit of everything. It's hard to point one thing that goes wrong in these moments, but it's really hard to win against these top teams like Newcastle. And when we make mistakes that can help the opponent to score, it's harder. But let's focus on Thursday. It's really important for us.
Were some of the goals you conceded today too easy from your perspective for Newcastle to score?
I think you can see that we can do so much better. That's it. Let's focus on Thursday. Analyze this game, but all the mistakes that we did today, we cannot do it Thursday.
I can sense the disappointment and perhaps the anger within you at this moment in time. Once again, the criticism will come from outside, from pundits, from media people. Is the belief in your players that you can see that other people can't see? That the criticism will come, lack of running, lack of commitment in key moments. Do you understand that criticism?
I understand it. I don't care. Nothing is worse than lose games. So people can say whatever they want to say, and it's hard to I don't want to defend myself or anything like that, because if you look at our position in the table, says it all. So let's move on. It's really important Thursday, so I don't care what people say. Losing games is the hardest part by far from this job. So again, let's focus on Thursday.
How big then is Thursday? It was big before today. How big does it become now for Manchester United as a whole? Not just you, not just the players.
Of course, it's really important. We know that we have a chance to get Champions League, but let's focus stage by stage. We have an important game on Thursday. It's going to be really, really hard, but we need to focus on that and then go to the next stage.
What do you do to pick your players up, and whatever players you choose to put out there on Thursday? What do you do to instill the belief that you will need to go further in that competition in the hope of still getting Champions League football next season?
We had one season a lot like that, with difficult losses, difficult moments. So we are used to get up also. So we can do that Thursday. Let's focus on Thursday. So it's a different game when the ball, when the game starts, is a different history with our fans. We need to give something to our fans and to go to the next stage.
We spoke about Andre Onana before the game. What's your sense now? Does he come back into the reckoning for Thursday?
Everybody. Again, it's a difficult season. So tomorrow we are going to prepare the next game. He's not forgetting this game, but he's focused on the next one, because this game, after the game, you cannot change nothing. So let's focus on the next one.
Ruben, one very final question. You've always been very open and honest with us about the task you faced here and the difficulties you faced. But is that task a bigger task now, where you find yourselves and looking forward? And how big, in your opinion, is it to change the fortunes of this club?
We already talked about that. Let's focus on game by game. So if you think in all the pictures, sometimes it's really hard to face all the problems at the same time. Our biggest problem is the game on Thursday. Let's focus on that.
We wish you a change of fortune.
Thank you very much.
Well, you can understand why Ruben Amorim would want to focus on the game on Thursday rather than this defeat at St James's Park, and senior players looking very annoyed at the end of that, and we will hear from some of them a little bit later on. But in terms of the performances that we've seen from them in the Premier League, he came in when they were in 12th. They're now in 14th at pretty much the end of this round of fixtures. Have you seen positives from Ruben Amorim's time at Man United?
Not at the moment. You mentioned there nobody likes to lose games. Of course not, but sometimes it's the way you lose. It's the way they give up some of the goals in the second half. Obviously some mistakes from players, losing possession. Obviously you knew Newcastle were going to put you under pressure, obviously. So that's the big hang-up you'd have. They've lost 14 league games, and they lost 14 last season. So that's why you have to point the finger at this group of players. No, the only defence I have, obviously, for a lot of the players, is a lot of them are still new to the Premier League. And the manager's new to the Premier League. I think the manager, if you spoke to him, I think he's scratching his head. He's frustrated in that interview, of course. He wants to focus on the next game, but you also have to reflect on the game today. That's where we're at. I bet you he can't believe how bad the United team is. I bet he obviously can't say that, and he's talking about recruitment this summer. But this group of players, the mistakes they're making, I've mentioned at the end of the game, they can't seem to get around the pitch. There's no power in the team. Some of the players who can run, I think there's some players who can run, but they don't want to run. That's another worry. Some of the goals they gave up, you got an experienced right back, just letting somebody run by him. Now that's the bit I would be frustrated with. But I think the Premiership has caught this manager and his coaching staff out. Even his first game where we covered was down at Ipswich, and Ipswich drew with him, and Ipswich probably could have won it near the end. And I bet you was thinking, this is tough. And I know people do their homework, and these coaches and staff and obviously players do the homework before they go to a club. But I think he's gone in there and I think he's been shocked at how bad this group of players are.
But how is there that gap between what the analysts will have done from his side and from Manchester United's side?
Kelly, the only thing I'd say, I still think you don't know a group of players or their qualities until you actually get in the door and start working with them. Of course you're on the outside looking in, you do your little bit of homework, of course you do. You look at players and you'll have a bit of pride and ego to think, I can improve these players, I can make them better. That's a manager's job. And they brought in some players. But I think over the last couple of years, and before, obviously, this manager came in, I'm not putting it all on him, a lot of the recruitment was bringing players in who've never played in the Premier League. And I think it seems to have cut a lot of them out. They can't seem to cope with the demands, the physical side of the game. The lack of goals is a huge problem for Man United, because usually you look at Man United over the years and think, well, there'll be some sort of entertainment, they'll score goals, they'll get at him. But with 15, 20 minutes ago, this game was over. United fans must be looking, scratching their heads going, this game is over. There's no way we're getting back in this. We've only scored the one goal. We don't score many. If anything, it was going to how many you concede. And then we took at the players' decision-making. We have a goalkeeper coming in today. It's difficult to get up to speed for a goalkeeper, particularly making saves. But in terms of playing out from the back and taking chances, to me, that's just madness. That's just common sense. That's just your football knowledge. Why take chances at Newcastle where you're under the cosh? You're trying to chip balls into the middle of the park. That's where you have to look at the players and go, look, lads, give us a bit of a chance. And as I said, there's nothing wrong with losing football matches. The great teams lose football matches, but sometimes it's the way you lose it. And that second half, particularly from United, nowhere near good enough. It's easy for a manager to say, let's focus on Thursday. No, you have to look at today. This group of players, bit of fight, bit of spirit. They're lacking in quality, they're lacking pace, they're lacking power. But my goodness, show some fight. They didn't do that enough in the second half.
Just